Welcome to The Explainer. Today, we're going to tackle a really interesting and maybe even a little radical idea. What if the key to solving our biggest economic problems isn't more data, but actually more creativity?
All right, let's just jump right in with a question for you. When you think about economics, all the graphs, the equations, supply and demand curves, does the word creative even come close to popping into your head? Probably not, right? For most of us, it's a definite no. But what if that's the one thing the entire field is missing right now?
Look, there's no doubt that traditional economics has given us some incredible tools. I mean, they've helped us understand the world in so many ways. But when you look at the huge, messy, tangled problems we're facing today, well, it kind of feels like we're in a bit of a creative crisis.
And this really gets to the heart of the problem. On one side, you've got these foundational, traditional models that have been around forever. And on the other side, you've got these massive, modern challenges, stuff like inequality, sustainability, crazy fast tech changes that just refuse to fit neatly into those old boxes. It's pretty clear our economic toolkit is due for a major upgrade.
Okay, so how do we actually build that new toolkit? Well, that's where this brand new field of study comes in. It's designed to do just that, to bridge that gap. And it's got a pretty cool name, Creationomics.
Now, at its core, Creationomics isn't just about, celebrating cool new startups or creative entrepreneurs. It goes way deeper. It's about systematically studying how creativity itself, we're talking imagination, out-of-the-box thinking, even artistic methods, can actually become a serious, rigorous tool for analyzing the economy.
And this quote from Mario Arturo Ruiz Estrada really nails it. The big idea here is to stop treating creativity like some random spark of lightning that creates a new product. Instead, we need to see it for what it is, a fundamental analytical force that can help us completely rethink how we build models, design policies, and even structure the institutions that run our world.
So the goal is to basically infuse creativity into, well, everything. We're talking about the whole shebang. How we design economic models, how we craft public policy, even how we teach economics in the first place and work with people in other fields. It's a total overhaul.
And this is super important, this isn't just some vague, fluffy call to go be more creative. No, Creationomics actually lays out a structured, step-by-step process for taking that initial spark of an idea and turning it into a solid, robust economic concept. So let's break down how it works.
What's so cool about this framework is the path it lays out. You start with pure imagination, just wild new ideas. But then you immediately have to ground them in what we already know, the foundational stuff. It pushes you to make your ideas tangible, like literally sketching them out on paper, before you dive into the formal research. And it all wraps up with a feedback loop, which is key, because it means that creativity keeps pushing things forward, making them better and better.
Okay, that's the theory. It sounds good, right? But let's see how this thing actually performs in the real world. We're going to take a super classic economic problem, the relationship between inflation and unemployment, and see what happens when you run it through this creative process. This is where it gets really interesting.
The key analogy here is just fantastic. Think about it. The old model, the Phillips curve, it's like a single photograph. It gives you a snapshot, a frozen moment in time showing a simple trade-off. But this new approach, it's trying to create a full-length movie, one that shows the dynamic, complex, multi-dimensional reality of how all these forces are actually interacting over time. It's a huge leap.
And check this out. It starts exactly how the framework says it should. Not with a bunch of complex math, but with a simple hand-drawn sketch. This is that writing and drawing stage we just talked about, brought to life. It's all about taking this huge abstract idea and making it tangible, something you can actually see and point to.
Then, once that human idea is on paper, technology steps in. That rough sketch gets fed into an AI tool. And notice what's happening here. The AI isn't coming up with the core idea. It's acting like a superpowered assistant, taking that human creativity and refining it into a polished, precise model that you can actually work with.
So, what's the big payoff? What does this new movie actually show us that the old photograph couldn't? Well, for starters, it combines inflation and unemployment into one single measure. But even more importantly, it lets us see how a ton of other variables are constantly messing with that relationship. It gives us this rich, holistic picture that just blows the old flat model out of the water.
This whole example, a human sketch getting polished by an AI, really brings us to the future of all of this. Because integrating these powerful new tools in economics, well, it opens up a world of possibilities, but it also comes with some pretty big risks we have to think about.
On one hand, the promise is huge. AI can be an amazing partner, helping us test and scale up our creative ideas faster than we could ever dream of. But there's a flip side, a real danger. If we get too dependent on these tools, we could end up outsourcing our own creative muscles, our own critical thinking. So the real challenge, the tightrope we have to walk, is using AI to enhance our human ingenuity, not just replace it.
And really, that's the bottom line here. Creationomics is basically arguing that our ability to imagine, to see new connections, to think differently, that's not just some soft skill you'll list on a resume. It's a fundamental, renewable resource, and it's absolutely essential if we're going to build an economy that's resilient and can adapt to whatever the future throws at us.
So that leaves us with one final thing to think about. If this kind of creative process can totally reframe something as fundamental as inflation and unemployment, just imagine what else it could do. What other big, stubborn, seemingly impossible problems, not just in economics but everywhere, are just sitting there, waiting for someone to come along with a fresh pair of eyes?